going to be fun. The same way that handing you a book and seeing how fast you can, read the first page, right? It's almost like a game. Like, how quick can you do it? You know what I mean? You can show everybody how good a reader you are. In fact, let me see.
I don't know how to do that.
Show me how fast you can read this bottom one. Ready, go. This bottom one.
Out loud, so he knows.
That's okay. I figured it out after he didn't go. Tell me when you're done.
Done.
Nice. See how fast? If I were to put a bunch of you in a room together, some of you would be faster than others or whatever. You can kind of make a game out of it, right? So in the same thing, I'm going to put charts in front of you, and we're going to see how good you can do on a first read. And that's kind of fun too. That kind of turns into a game. You get done. Sometimes you played better than others. Sometimes you're like, dude, I nailed that chart. That was awesome. And then other times you're going to be like, holy, like I couldn't feel that chart because it was in 8, but I kept feeling it in 6. And then you're annoyed.
Guess that's familiar.
So, that kind of stuff happens, and you just kind of learn to roll with it. But it doesn't happen until you learn all the letters, which is what we're trying to do right now. You can't read paragraphs if you don't know your letters. Okay? So, how did this go this week? Did you get to the bottom of the page?
He did not. It's been a heavy baseball week.
Gotcha. Okay.
We didn't do any of it.
These are 4-bar grades, so I think this is what let's see. It's this page, right? Yeah, it is.
You just forgot to copy number 10.
Oh, it cut off at the bottom. Okay. So how about, let's jump in. I think we got through number 5, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is what we need to do? Okay. So, as part of our warm-up, describe to me the process. So I say, ready, go, number 6. What do you do?
I read it. I try to understand it.
Okay. What's the first step?
The first note or the first step?
The first step that you take in learning something new, like this.
I
tell you, number 6. Okay, read it. The whole thing all at once?
I read
So you break it into little pieces. Yeah. Yes. So that is step 1. Break it into little pieces. Look at that first.
No,
then look at that.
The whole thing. So
And then look at that. You know what I mean? Like take them in little chunks and put them together in the same way that you would sound out a big word that you don't know. Right? If there was a big word you didn't know how to read it, you would read little pieces of it. Right? So you're going to do the same thing with music. Okay? You got a freebie right here. Right? So notice that. Bar 4 is just time. There's no figures there.
Like 5.
So, okay, once you're now kind of breaking it into smaller pieces, what kind of things are you looking for?
I'm looking for things to recognize.
Uh-huh.
Like
What are some of your letters?
crash, doo-doo-da,
Uh-huh.
doo-doo-da.
So this starts on an and though. So rather than dooba-dooba, what works better here? Rough bark, bark. Okay. What about that? So you could rough bark, Roomba, or because it's 8 notes all back to back, rough bark, crash. Right? When it's all upbeat 8 notes back to back to back. What do you have here? This is a little bit tricky, right? So first off, the best thing to note is where is that?
And of 1.
And of 1? This is the and of 1.
So it's and 2.
And of 2. You're right, which means that 3 is right here. So you could look at it like this, or if I take that away, what is that? This is a common one. This is rough bark, right? 3 and. So then all you gotta do, rough. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. So you just add a little extra pickup in there. A rough bark, bark, crash, a rough bark, bark. Right? Do you see how I put all that together? Yeah. And then is this short or long?
Short.
Short. Okay. Then after you bark, right? Because it's short, where do you come back in here?
2.
2. 2, a 3, 4, a 1. Do you see how it's starting to get a little bit more complicated? Because everything isn't exactly in the box. That's the boxed pattern. But they're throwing you a loop by adding one extra note first, right? They're making it a little bit trickier. But just a tiny bit. That's not more than you can handle. You already know how to do that. Adding one little note first. Try real slow?
With metronome.
You want metronome first?
Yes.
Attaboy.
It's keeping time so I don't get lost.
I think that's a great idea. I'm the same way. Do you want 120 or faster?
120 for now.
Okay.
Start at 120.
Crash. Dooba. So, where do you think the trickiest part is going to be once you start to play?
I'm looking through.
What do you think? You're exactly right.
So
that, because you need to know how long you're supposed to wait. Dooba, but then where does that come back in?
Comes in 3.
The and of 3.
And 30, so I have to go.
So, a good way to think about it, that right there, beat 2. Put something there. You can put a ride. Dooba, ride, a rough bark, bark, crash, a rough bark, bark. Just ding something there to give you time. You could just put a hi-hat down if you'd like. There you go. See, it's making a little more sense now, right? It is kind of funny that sometimes the hardest spot are the rests. You gotta make sure that you can keep track. Okay, ready? Is this too fast or are you okay?
110.
Try to hear it in your head as much as you can before you play it. That was correct so far. That was good. What might help you if you play 2 bars up front, because that'll get you kind of locked into the time. Nice recovery. You missed one spot, right?
What?
This wasn't quite right, but you held on a little bit and you recovered in time. You started more like here, rough bark bark. You didn't get this first part. It's rough bark bark crash, right?
Focus, big man, focus.
But what did you do? You landed on 1. Even if you dropped something somewhere, you kept going and you ended strong. That's the best thing that you can do aside from play it perfectly. And you can't play it perfect every time. Right? Okay, good. I'm very happy with that. I thought that was a good shot. Play some time up front. That seemed to help you. Getting a little shaky in there, but you're not losing track of your time, which is important. If you're gonna miss the figures, the best thing you can do is still hang on to time. It's better to keep track of time and to not hit all the figures exactly than it is to hit the figures exactly and get totally lost in where you are in the time, right?
Well, if I hit the figures exactly, I'm not getting lost, because then if I'm hitting them exactly, I'm hitting them on the beat, and I'm on the beat.
Sure, but then if you're totally lost, by the time the figures are done, you don't know where you are anymore. Right? You're just hitting figures. And you're like, well, okay, we're out here somewhere, and you're guessing. It's better to know right where you're at, even if you don't hit all the figures. Because I'm having you do the hard mode, which is you have to hit everything. But when you're actually playing real jazz charts, you don't have to hit every single figure.
Good.
You don't. You hit the ones that you think will make the band sound the best, or the ones that you think the band needs the most in order to land it, to be tight and be together. But you don't have to hit them all. That's just not the way that it works. Okay? But your time has to be tight, and you got to know where you're at the whole time. Okay? That's number one. All right, good. You want a little faster?
No,
okay.
Actually.
Good. No problem. I know these things can be a little bit frustrating, but you're doing fine.
Jump in with time, dude.
I'm trying to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it.
Okay. Okay. Pay attention. Really listen, because you gotta be able to hear it, right? Make sure you're following along with your eyes. I'm just gonna do 2 bars. I tried to be particularly abrupt at where that was so that you could very clearly hear where the break is. Do you need to hear it at what one? You want to hear 120? Oh, you see that? I'm not perfect every time either. What happened?
You're a little off time.
I was a little off time, yeah. Yeah?
I'm just confused.
So if I piece it together very slow.
That.
Yeah.
No, just this. Just that.
Mm-hmm. So.
How does it line up with the metron?
And. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 1, and 3, and. It's a lot of upbeats. Mm-hmm. So that last part. So if I were to go mega, mega slow. 1, 2, dooba, dooba, 2. Oh, actually. That's what I wanted. So beat 2, not beat 3. Right here. 2. Right? You've done that one before. Dooba dooba, ding, rough bark bark crash. Do you have it on this page? I don't think we have it on this page, but you definitely have done it before. Oh, actually, yeah, it's the one right above it. Rough bark bark crash.
So it's
right there.
Is it lined up the same though?
No, it's a little bit different. But that's the hard part that we're going through, right?
Yeah.
So can a C and a K make the same sound?
Yeah.
Can a C and an S make the same sound?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's the same idea, okay? So it won't always be written. Rough bark bark is not going to always be written this way, and dooba dooba is not going to always be written this way, okay? They're going to have different ways that they're written, but you have to be able to recognize what works, okay?
Well, I just don't understand.
Then I'm happy to take as much time as you need to understand, okay? We don't, whether this is a good lesson or not has nothing to do with how far we get. It has everything to do on attitude, right? If something is really hard and it takes you all day to get it, is anybody mad at you for that? No, we're not mad at you for that, right? If something is hard, we're going to spend a little extra time learning it, and that's okay. The problem is when we start to get to this point where we're so frustrated that we check out, you're going to make it harder for yourself, which is going to be more frustrating, and then it's going to be harder to keep a good attitude, right? Rather than thinking of this as an opportunity to get stronger and to get better, like, oh, I actually, so you can think of it this way. You actually found something that was hard for you. I don't often give you stuff that's hard, right? Like, not hard like this anyway. Even my Mambo, you picked that up pretty quick. Right? Even that took Ben weeks and weeks and weeks. I think you picked it up in like 2. Okay? That happens. Okay? Sometimes you're not going to understand something and it's going to be really hard for you. You remember me showing you that other one? I think it was on the page before this. Look at how much scribbling is down here. You don't see that many notes unless it was hard, right? And you came in here and you breezed through it. Yeah?
That's because you showed me the trick.
Sure. And that's okay. But the point is that you have to struggle sometimes. Okay? It has to be hard sometimes.
Failure is the key to success.
Bingo. You don't get stronger unless you work your muscles so hard that they give out. You're doing push-ups, and finally you can't push yourself up on that last one. Are you beating yourself up about that push-up that you couldn't do? No, because that was the point where you were really growing. That was the part where the muscle was tearing. You're going to get stronger. Okay? So it's the same thing. It's just about your attitude. Okay? You can have a positive attitude about something being hard. You can do it. Okay? As you're getting older, we have to be able to do that kind of thing. Okie doke? All right. Because it's when you're a grown-up, you can't just, we'll get to jazz later. Oh, I'll just do my taxes later. You get frustrated. You have to push through it.
I get the taxes.
Yeah. You have to just push through. You can do it, okay? I will play it over and over and over again for you if that's what you need. Yeah?
It's all offbeat.
Yeah.
I was trying to play
almost the entire thing is offbeat.
I was trying to play this. I was trying to play it on like this. Like,
yeah, it's all offbeat. From here on, everything is offbeat. 1, 2. One, 2, 3, and. All ands. The whole way across. You do these other little setup things like, but that's not the main note. The main note is the upbeat note. And even then, the first one is still an upbeat. Up, down, up. Okay? This is down, this is down. The whole rest is all upbeat.
So it's just like it's down, down, and then up.
Dooba-doo-ba is an up and a 4.
Up,
3 and, 4 and, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and.
up. That's like 6 steps in a row.
Jazz does that a lot, my dude. Jazz loves those upbeats.
Why though? They just
Why?
Wait until you start hearing what the horns are doing and the groove that it creates.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the most popular comp. That is the most popular comp.
feel them?
No.
Upbeat. Fill-in is just a double on the upbeat. You're just doing a double, but starting on the upbeat. Yeah? They love that stuff. That's why so many hits in jazz are all on the ands, right? And. Oh, that one's actually on 4.
And.
Yeah.
There's probably like
there.
1,000 more ands.
Yeah. That's
Just in the ensemble.
well, that's one of the things that gets really tough for rock drummers is because we're so used to. Right? That's what we get used to is that strong downbeat. If it was more like jazz. Right?
There's one song that does that.
There's all kinds of stuff. There's Enter Sandman, like they do that kind of stuff. Ands. But for the most part, jazz is gonna live on those ands. Okay? Alright. Let's give it another shot. And. Do you want it back at 1 to 10, or are you happy with 120? All you have to do is fix your attitude, right? That's how it goes. You just, and not to say you were being mean or anything, but you can have a negative attitude or you could have a positive attitude. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Like negative.
Mm-hmm. You're spending too much time and too much energy thinking about how you can't do it, whereas thinking about how you're not able to do it yet. Yet is positive, right? Because it means you will get it.
I'm believing that I will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just needed that shift. Okay. So that's going to be a big one. You should work on that at home too. Okay. That we should get to a point where this isn't really killing you. Okay. All right. I think you're going to have an easier time with number 7 because it's
flat out doobie boss.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Take a look at it.
I'm a little lost, but
Okay. Dooba-doo-ba. Where is this?
4 ends.
Yeah, 4 and. So that's
Dooba-dooba.
so it's not dooba-doo-ba-ba-doo-ba, right? Because it starts on 4. Dooba-doo-ba, a-dooba-doo-ba, a-dooba-doo-ba. Remember that from before? Because if you have to put that extra little upbeat in there if you're gonna land on a downbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Dooba-dooba, a dooba-dooba, a dooba-dooba, a dooba-dooba.
So you do it 3 times. Dooba-doo-ba, a dooba-doo-ba, a dooba-doo-ba, ba-ba-dooba-doo-ba. See, that's gonna 2 upbeats.
So,
and then another one.
Ba ba-doo-ba-doo ba ba-doo-ba-doo ba ba-doo-ba-doo ba.
Ba ba do ba do ba.
Ba. Oh.
There's 2 upbeats in there. 3 and 4 and.
So.
3 and 4 and a 3 and 4 and.
3 and 4 and 2. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and.
3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. Do ba do ba ba boo ba do ba. Yep. And then.
And then it's just.
So you got a couple ways you can do this. This is another one. This is another one.
Where it's tricky.
Yeah, where it's tricky. So you got a couple options. First off, if I cover this, what is that? You should know that letter. Yeah, that's rough bark bark. So you can do that. But because it starts on a downbeat, you don't have to. You can do ba do ba bark. Do ba do ba bark.
I could go.
That's what you're gonna be doing here. Do ba do ba bark bark. Or do ba do ba bark. Do ba do ba. Do ba do ba. One is short. So that note is short, and that note is short. So those are good ones to bark. Okay?
So do-ba-doo. Ba.
Do ba do ba. So you're adding the extra upbeat. It's not written in there. It's a ghost note.
Oh, okay.
Do ba do ba. Do ba do ba. Do ba do ba. Right? So the isn't actually written in here until you get to that one. That one's actually written in. Do ba do ba.
And then a do ba do bark bark.
Do ba do bark bark. That one will bark once. That one will bark twice. Kind of run it in your head a couple times.
Is that right? I don't know.
Do it for me again.
Do-ba-do-ba, a-do-ba-do-ba, do-ba-do-ba, a-do.
Don't forget that guy.
I'm getting do-ba-do-ba, a-do-ba-do-ba, a-do-ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba-do-ba.
Yep. As long as that one gets in there too. So, well, this is the extra bark. Do-ba-do-ba, a-do-ba-do-ba. A do ba do ba ba. A do ba do ba. A do ba do bark bark.
So this is do ba do bark.
Do ba do ba ba. A do ba do ba. Yeah, you can bark that. Do ba do ba bark. A do ba do ba.
Okay. Let's try that one.
Sure.
Four measures.
Sure. Played all of it on your first go. So what that means is you did enough prep work that, boom, you nailed it. So the difference between me and you is just how much quicker I can do that prep work. But I'm doing all the same stuff that you're doing.
You just
I just do it quicker.
You go. All right, got it.
Yeah, I figured out a little bit quicker than you do. That's really the only difference. Okay. So the more that you do that, The more that you put yourself in that process where you're sounding out the words, you're going to learn those words, right? That was how you learned to read. You had to sound things out. Maybe take like a big word like invisible, something like that, right? You probably had to, yeah. That, what you just did right there, that's what we're doing right now with these. You're sounding them out the way that you used to have to sound out words. When you read now, do you have to sound out words?
Only if they're like super big, like.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the same thing. So eventually you're going to get to a point where this, you don't have to sound any of it out anymore. But you'll have to if something gets especially complicated, right? Something like...
I don't know.
No?
Yeah.
More like that guy down there.
Oh yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
Wait, is
that guy?
That's
so when you get to when you get to stuff like that, that's especially complicated, then you'll have to sound it out. But the rest of it, you won't have to, because you've gotten good at the words. Okay? So I want to make sure that we still got time to hit our Samba stuff. So we got 6 and 7 done today.
I need to do
this needs some extra work because that was tough. I want to see if you can, see if you can get these 3 and polish that this week. Okay? Or get as much of that as you can. I think you're going to find that these last 3 are not too bad. Look at how many half notes and stuff are in here. Half note, half note, half note, do-ba, do-ba. Half note, ba, ba. Easy peasy, right? So, some of these are going to be a little bit easier. But, don't, you gotta be careful with them too, right? That could be rough bark, but that could also be the end of a do-ba, do-ba. But then you got the crash. So remember that. So whether you do rough bark, bark, or you do do-ba, do-ba, crash, bop, bop. Either way, make sure, just be thorough with it. Okie doke? All right. You can do that this week on your own. So, yeah.
I have one song.
So, yeah, talk to me about that. So, how did that go for you this week?
Good.
It went good?
I got one song, I know the name of, one I don't.
Okay.
One is Whenever, Wherever.
Okay.
Wherever, Whenever. By Shakira.
Okay.
And then the other one I can't name.
Okay, that's fine. So, those were the 2 that you listened to this week? Did you listen to anything else? That's okay if you didn't. I'm just asking.
I did, I didn't pick any.
Okay. So, what we're going to try to do is we're going to approach this from both angles, okay? Your dad is helping you from the pop angle, meaning it's going to be more relatable. It's like stuff that you've already listened to. A lot of the stuff that I grabbed, it's going to be real, like, it's all in Portuguese, and it's going to sound very foreign to you, okay? And we're going to start to hone in on something that you like, because the big one is if you can find a song that you really like, then it'll be fun to work on, right? Okay. So, how about, let's put headsets on.
Dad's got to stop recording now.
Not if it goes through the headset.
Copyright purposes. Just guys.
If it goes through the headset, then no problem.
Okay.
I think I need to get a new one of these. I had a hard time getting it to grab.
A new dongle.
What?
A new dongle.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? That's why the jack got taken out in the first place. It was just buy these and then they break right away, and then you got to buy more anyway.
Yeah.
So
for $15 for a single one.
This is worse.
Okay. So since this was the one we worked on, we'll start here and then we'll double back to the other stuff, okay?
Oh yeah, and then I was hit so high.
Yep. It's not wanting to grab.
Just turned it way down.
Yeah, because I'm avoiding copyright stuff while I'm trying to get it to grab. There we go. All right.
Restart it.
So, have you tried playing along with it?
I've just listened.
Okay.
It's been crazy baseball week. He's had no days off.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, those questions are never to beat up on you guys. Those questions are always just so that I know. So because he said no, I'm going to play to it. So I'm not going to play it just like the recording. I'm going to try to make it more of a samba kind of flavor. Okay?
All right, ready?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, play.
So to be able to do that kind of thing, we got to understand how to do a lot of different kind of samba stuff, right? So the verse pattern, you can do both. You can do, you can, right? So those are going to be your different combinations. That's going to be based on whoever is, you know, whatever else they're doing in the music. Okay? Then you've got your other samba that you already know. Did you hear me using partito alto? Yep. What I did was, because there was nothing in the song that really locked into that, I gave you a taste of it. I would do it in pieces. Right? I'm not doing the whole thing, I'm doing little pieces of it. Right? The same how when you play metal, it's not always. Sometimes you just want some. Right? You're doing different things things to be a little more creative and energetic, right? Man, my legs are not working. I'm going to work today.
You can see your brain thinking on that one for those patterns.
Yeah, I know. I was working on it. Yeah, so you got to have a couple different things that you can do, right? I use the bell. Okay. Okay, and then I used one other really complicated pattern that I'll show you someday.
It was like, you would do it.
I forget what that's called.
Okay, I'm gonna watch this video and I'm just going to.
I was trying to get your attention when he started doing it. You were just watching the video, I think.
So you have to learn how to do that, and then you got to learn how to keep that underneath and be able to do both.
And don't stab your parts off.
Okay, so don't worry about that one as much. But that was what I was looking for, right? So to kind of pick up on a song, okay, cool. You can enjoy this song. This is going to be more pop. So you can get away at one point, like, because my legs are just having a hard time today for whatever reason. I was like, I'm not really getting good, clean doubles anymore. I just kind of moved to... Right? You can kind of take some shortcuts. Because it's a pop song. You don't have to have the whole time.
I heard one time, a few times, I was like, it was more straight. The hits on like 3.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking for. Okay. So you have that one that you can work on. This is pretty easy. We haven't talked about this, but this is another. This is like the verse pattern for sambas for the most part. Okay. You can add other stuff in there. You can add that kind of stuff. Usually if you're going to do a snare, it's not going to be on a downbeat. If you're doing that, it's going to be on an upbeat. Rather than... Right?
That's it.
Yeah. So you can use that for the verse. The fills were pretty regular. I used the other one I showed you. You can use that however. Triple let TT.
It's easy
Yeah.
too.
And it sounds nice. It's like half between a and a. It's in between. You can kind of hear both, huh? It's like mashing them together.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put on a couple that I found, and I want you to listen for things that you might recognize. Okay, these are gonna be. For one, I looked up some classics. Would you mind moving your foot? Okay. I looked up some classics. So a lot of them are going to be kind of old.
Okay.
But they're going to be pretty authentic. It's going to be a very different flavor than what you're used to.
The
Curious,
Google's was not
yeah.
as nice searching up the stuff we were looking for.
Let's see, what was one of the ones that I liked? I grabbed a lot of them. I think this one. Can Can you hear it? Ch-ba-boom, 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 ch-ba-boom.
In these, it's really loud. It's really loud in these.
Better. You can hear it? There's one I'm looking for in particular. This almost sounds Johnny Cash-y. There you go. You hear that?
I can't hear it over that weird back.
Yeah. This is a little more manageable, right? Portuguese and Spanish are very similar.
I heard corazon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
A lot of shared stuff.
There
was one I was listening to the other day. I heard Contigo in there. I'm like, oh, I know that one. So.
I'm thinking it's corazon is heart. Yeah, it's heart. It's a corazon, so I'm thinking heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a heart of star and it's heart.
So that would be a good one because that's a medium samba. That's not one of these faster ones that I've been playing for you.
Yeah, you send me that one, I'll have him work on that too.
Yeah, like these other ones, they were faster. Oh
yeah, then the one that had the
boom, 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 boom. This one's a lot more mellow, right? Boom, 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 boom. Like a tiny bit faster than a bossa. Like you could even make a bossa work here. Yeah. So maybe I'll